Chef Gail Sokol, and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're making giant peanut butter cookies. You know, the ones that bring back old-fashioned memories when you were a kid, and maybe you got them from your grandma or your mom, or even in school, and the cafeteria ladies made them special for all the kids. Well, these are chewy, and I'm going to give you some tips to make them extra chewy. But before we get started, I want you to click the notification button, and I want you to become a subscriber so that you don't miss any of my videos or tips because they are amazing. Now, we're going to start. This is the creaming method, this peanut butter cookie, and we have to let the dough chill for about an hour. You can even freeze it if you want to for a couple of days and even up to a month or two. So we are going to whisk our dry ingredients. And I do have to say that there is a subscriber that wrote into me that he has such fond memories of these incredible peanut butter cookies from his childhood. So Kelly, this is for you. So in a big bowl, I'm going to whisk my dry ingredients. This is part of our mise en place. So right here, I have 2 3/4 cups of bread flour, not all purpose. Get bread flour, higher protein level, going to give you an extra chew in that cookie. It's going to be amazing. Trust me on this. A tablespoon and a teaspoon of baking powder and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. And the reason it has such a small amount of salt is we're going to salt with a little flaky sea salt on the top of our cookies before we bake them. Sort of like a modern twist to that old-fashioned peanut butter cookie. So you're going to whisk that up. We want to make sure that our chemical leavener and our salt gets evenly distributed so nobody gets a little surprise when they bite into their cookie. Now we're going to give that a rest and leave that. We're going to move on to our electric mixer. And in my electric mixer, and I want to make sure I read this and get this right, 1 1/4 cups of granulated sugar is already in here. And then we're going to use 3/4 of a cup of packed dark brown sugar. If you only have light, use light. I like the dark. I like the little extra molasses flavor. It's really, really good. And then 2 sticks of unsalted butter, softened. Make sure it's softened. And I just add it all in there. And then the piece de resistance. Creamy, no nuts, no chunky, just creamy peanut butter. And that's 1 cup of creamy peanut butter. That's a lot of peanut butter because these are a lot of cookie. So we're going to get that in there. Woo! All right. And I'm going to keep my paddle handy, my rubber spatula handy. This is my paddle, and I'm going to put my paddle on. And we're going to cream this till it's light and fluffy. And there's a lot of fat in there. You have 1/2 pound of butter, 8 ounces of butter, and you have your peanut butter. And boy, can I smell it. Yum, 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 peanut butter. So in a little container here, I've cracked 2 large eggs. And I always add my vanilla extract into my eggs. It makes it easier. 2 teaspoons pure vanilla extract. We don't want to add this until we've creamed appropriately. So I'm going to take my rubber spatula because my sugar's not totally blended. And I'm just going to push down on the sides. Oh my goodness, I'm almost overcome by the aroma of peanut butter. It is so amazing. Just get that off the paddle. All right, get that in there. Usually you want a cream till your butter is lighter in color, but how can you tell? Because there's all that beautiful peanut butter. So I have a big spoon. I'm going to add my dry ingredients in a minute, but first we're going to slowly add our eggs 1 at a time. And you want to do this on low speed. So 1 egg. So when a yolk goes in, I assume it's about an egg. Okay. Get that incorporated. Remaining egg in there. Shazam. And because of the peanut butter and all the butter and all the sugars, the 2 different sugars, you may want to scrape down a few times. This is big peanut butter flavor, folks. You're going to get a lot of bang for your buck here. And you are going to shut your eyes when you bite into these. You're going to take a big glass of milk, and you're just going to remember the good old days when you were a kid, when your mom made these, when somebody you loved made these, and they're going to just melt in your mouth. Now I'm slowly adding in my dry ingredients. Now these are not going to make a ton of cookies unless you make them small, but if you make about 2-ounce ice cream scoopers worth, that's about 1/4 of a cup, they're going to make pretty big cookies. And these are the old-fashioned. We're not dipping them in chocolate. We're not doing anything fancy schmancy. This is your mom's peanut butter cookie, your grandma's peanut butter cookie. And I have other peanut butter cookies on my website that I've done videos with. But this is the tried and true, traditional, welcome back to my childhood. So I'm going to get the rest of the dry ingredients in without getting them all over the floor, Chef Gail. Okay. Get my rubber spatula to give that little shove of that. All right. Now, what you can see is, or you're going to be able to see, this is what our dough looks like. I'm going to bring it over. Oh, look at it. It is massive dough. This is where we chill it, okay? So you want to actually use your hands, push, and you want to take your rubber spatula on the bottom of this bowl, of the electric mixing bowl, because you know, I always say this in my videos, electric mixing bowls have that little, like, boop, that little hill of metal on the bottom. And you want to get all your dry ingredients that might have gotten stuck in there. And then we're going to put this gorgeous dough. And it looks like it's firm enough to bake off, but we don't want it to get too thin in the oven. So chill it just for an hour. If you don't have an hour, do me a favor. Just put it in the freezer for 30 minutes and you'll get a much thicker, chewier cookie. And remember that bread flour. So I'm actually going to pack this in to my bowl, cover it with plastic wrap, and I'm going to give it a chill in the fridge. See you back. So my peanut butter cookie dough is chilled sufficiently, and I have a 1/4 cup or a 2-ounce ice cream scoop. You can use a 1/4 cup solid measuring cup, whatever you want to use. And I'm just going to sort of roll it into a ball after I scoop it out. I'm going to put it onto a parchment lined sheet pan. And then I have a giant fork. You can use just a regular fork if you want. I put it in a little oil so it wouldn't stick. And I'm going to give it that old-fashioned crisscross, that a lot of these cookies have. And then before it goes into the oven, I'm going to give it just a little sprinkling of sea salt. And that oil is going to help that sea salt stick. And we're going to bake them for about 14 to 16 minutes. They're going to spread a little bit. They're not going to spread that thin because we don't want them thin. We want them chewy. That's what the bread flour is actually going to encourage, the development of some chewiness. So 14 to 16 minutes, they're going to get nice and brown. And then we're going to take them out and we're going to eat them. Looky, looky, my giant peanut butter cookies that you remember from your childhood, warm from the oven, a little bit of sea salt to carry them into the present tense. They are awesome. I hope you make these cookies because you will be making them over and over and over again. They make slightly under 2 dozen, but they will not be here very long because they're so large. If you make them smaller, they'll make probably maybe 50 or 60, but make them big. We like them big. I hope you make these cookies. I hope you give them to all your childhood friends and your grandma and your mom and say, look, Mom, now I can do this just like you did. I hope you have a wonderful peanut butter cookie party. Something fun with peanut butter. Until next time, be a subscriber.